What's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, and my fans of the TV show The Boys? Spoiler warning for all things The Boys. I'm going to talk about The Boys Season 4 and if he, as in Kessler, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character, is really there with Butcher. So obviously, spoiler warning for all things The Boys. But overall, Season 4 of The Boys is kind of weak, in my opinion, and it's about the halfway point of the season so far. But we know that Butcher has this thing in his head, and we're guessing it's the worm thing that came out with the bunny, like that parasite thing that came out and killed Ezekiel when Butcher was being strangled by him. But per Entertainment Weekly, on the show, it's apparently been 11 years since Kessler and Butcher have seen each other. So let's talk about the latest episode where Butcher captures Samir and they're going to make Samir make more of the virus. So if you look at it closely, we know that Butcher captures Samir, he cut off his leg, and he's held hostage to make the virus. But I think it's just Butcher and Samir, because we see Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character Kessler right here, but every time no one else sees Kessler. And if you look at it quickly, it's a glancing moment, but you see Samir looks to the left where Kessler is, and he gives this look like, who is Butcher looking at? Like, it's quick, and he's scared, so you don't know if it's scared, and it's the end of the episode, but I don't think Kessler is actually there, and it's highly likely, in my opinion, that Butcher is hallucinating Kessler, because we know that he was hallucinating talking to his wife when she was gone. So it's highly likely that Kessler is not there as well. So we'll have to see what happens with Samir, Kessler, Butcher, and it could be Samir that shows that Butcher is hallucinating Kessler. But that's the latest episode as I make this video here. And I'm interested in seeing what happens with Butcher, Kessler, and the rest of the season. So again, we're about the halfway point as I make this video, so we'll have to see if this theory is true. So let's go back to when we first met Kessler and Butcher. So it's something that you don't really think about, that Kessler is not actually here, but no one is ever around Butcher and Kessler when they're talking. So there's no one else interacting with these characters, which, makes the theory plausible. And every time we see Kessler, there's weird angles and weird stuff like Kessler's not actually here. Like we see his feet and we see Butcher looking at Kessler across from the table, but the two cups and the way he pours the liquor in the cup, they freeze frame on it, and it's just something seems off. After you watch it a couple times, you're like, yeah, the cups are it's just, I don't know. And it just something that seems different and plausible. Now, Kessler could very well be there and it makes sense, but it's just something that makes more sense that Butcher is hallucinating because, he's got a parasite, weird thing in his head, and he's been through a lot, and he needs help, and, post-traumatic stress and everything else. But go back and watch the first episode. Remember, this is the first time we see Butcher and Kessler, and the way he pours it, and the angle, the way they shoot it, the way it's just portrayed to us. And the way that they highlighted this, like they pause on this for a couple seconds, like it's just kind of highlighted. And again, it's the first episode, so you're trying to figure out what's going down. And again, I can't state it enough. Kessler and Butcher are the only ones talking to each other in every episode where it's Butcher and Kessler. No one else is there. And every time, it's just, you could take Kessler out of it, and it's just Butcher talking to himself. And I think that's what we're going to see. And every time we see Kessler, he looks like this. He has the same jacket, shirt unbuttoned, with a tie, a different color tie, but it's always the same look. Like every time. He never got different clothes. He always comes from a meeting or something. Like it always looks like this. And this might be what and how Butcher remembers him. So when they're talking about kidnapping Ryan and knocking him out with the drugs that Butcher doesn't go through with, If Kessler is not actually there, how did Butcher get the drugs? Is my question with the theory, right? So I'm thinking that Kessler's not there, but when Kessler gives him the drugs, or we think he gets him the drugs, right? It could have been Butcher steals it somehow, and he doesn't remember getting it. He blacked out or something. It could be the explanation there. And I want to hear from you guys. Post your comments about this theory. Now, when they're in the park, again, no one else is around. Kessler looks the same jacket, same, shirt with the tie that's open there. And again, he has a file that they're looking at, the Godolkin U. And so they're looking at it from a point of Butcher got the files from Kessler. We're assuming, right? Or did he? Again, we don't know. We don't see him handed anything. They just have it. And every time Butcher needs help, he has Kessler to help him. Or does he? Is my question. Again, I can't state the fact that no one is ever around Mother's Milk, Frenchie, Huey, anyone. And so it just really fits, the more that I think about it and going back and watching the episodes, that Kessler's not here. And there's been talk that there could be another show with Kessler, which would be cool. I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so that would work. But maybe Kessler's dead and we can get a prequel. Or the real Kessler shows up and he's like, oh, good to see you or something. And it doesn't make sense to Butcher until it's like, whoa, he was never there all this time. Just look how Jeffrey Dean Morgan is sitting there. It looks like he's not even in the room. And Butcher's just talking to himself. But my thought is that Kessler is not there. Butcher is hallucinating it, or whatever you want to call it. And it just makes sense. So go back and watch the episodes, or let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. I definitely want to know your thought of this, because it's an interesting theory too. It doesn't make or break the show. It's just something that my wife and I were talking about, and I think she might have saw it somewhere too. So I was like, it's pretty cool. So I don't know what other articles are saying or what other people think about it, but it's definitely something that could be interesting this season. And it kind of stinks because season 4 is kind of lackluster so far, but hopefully it gets better setting up the 5th and final season. But like I said, guys, let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I want to know what your thought of season 4 is, and what do you make of this theory. But either way, guys, stay safe, and as always, tell them, Daryl.
Yo, we love you guys.